Hello and welcome to English 111. My name is John Bowman. I will be your instructor this very short semester. We have 8 weeks to get through 16 weeks of content, and I want to make sure to emphasize that from the very start because that's not a lot of time to be able to get through everything. So I don't want to waste your time with these videos. I want to make sure that they're as useful as possible. We have a lot of ground to cover, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump straight into it. This is what the course is going to look like when you log in on day one, minute one. Up here under Getting Started, you need to get through all of this information in order to have access to everything else in the entire class. You can see that everything is locked until you have accessed and completed this information up here at the very top. So, make sure that you do the COVID quiz, make sure that you do the introductory form. After you get done with that, you need to make sure that you immediately get started working inside of the very first module. This will contain your first content. Before I get to that, let's go ahead and set out some ground rules by looking at the syllabus. This is the syllabus. It's all the contact information that you'll have from me throughout the entire semester. There's my email address. If you do not use Canvas email, make sure that you use that email address. I am guaranteed to respond to that email, not any others that you may find. So, make sure that you use that one. This is my office phone number right here. That is the physical one that's located here in the office with me. So if you try to call that and it's outside of normal business hours, I probably won't answer. As well, this is my cell phone number right there. I've been teaching for something like 12 years at this point. I've been giving out that cell phone number the entire time. I haven't had a problem with it yet. If I do, I will just simply block the number and that will be that. But you can use that to text me short questions. So, Mr. Bowman, how long is the page count supposed to be for this paper? Mr. Bowman, I've had some kind of emergency. Is it okay if I hand it in by midnight instead of 5 p.m.? Yes, absolutely. Those are the kinds of questions that I look for. As a quick side note, two things. One, if it's a longer question, I'll ask you to email me, or I might ask you to call me on the phone. Or two, if you text me and I don't immediately respond, don't text me again and blow me up. Give me some time. If you text me in the evenings, I might not respond until the next day. I am a private person as well. I'm at home sometimes, and I'm in a movie. For example, I recently saw Spider-Man, and I'm not going to leave the theater to go and text somebody back. I'm going to watch that movie. I paid to see that movie. So those are some ground rules for the contact information. I just will quickly say don't try to call this number. I will never answer that number. If I see a number pop up that I don't recognize, again, it's my private cell phone number, I'm just not going to answer it. I'm going to cancel it and probably block it because I don't know who that is. And it's probably a scammer. Or it's about my car policy, who knows? All right, so course policies down here at the bottom, just a couple of quick things. Academic dishonesty, make sure you pay attention to the plagiarism policy. This is the willful and recycling or use of outside materials that are not authorized by the instructor. I have some pretty clear definitions here. So don't recycle your work. If you handed in a paper in high school, do not hand it in this class. You will receive a 0 if I catch you doing that. I do use software to try to to make sure that you guys are generating new content. And again, if you do that, you're just going to get a 0. It's no exceptions whatsoever. Attendance, make sure that you're attending the class. This is an 8-week class, so you need to make sure that you are on schedule and that you actively participate in the course. We will go quickly, like I already said. I'm not going to read the SEC policies to you, and I just want to point out here at the very bottom, this is your overall schedule for the entire class. You can see that everything is due on Thursdays at 5 p.m. There are some Tuesday dates on here. The Tuesday dates are reminders for boards that will occur, peer editing boards. I'll give you more information as we get closer to those. But in the meantime, just one quick thing here at the end before we move into the assignments. Overall, I'm going to treat you like an adult, and I actually put that on the syllabus too, so you can see that on there. I'm going to treat you like an adult, which means that you have all my contact information. I just showed you all the due dates. I've told you what will happen if you plagiarize. The one thing I missed was the late policy. For every 24-hour period that something is late, I will deduct 10 points. By the way, the gradebook is set to automatically put a 0 in once we're past the due date, but you still have a 5-day grace period. If you hand something in and during that 5-day grace period, I will replace the 0 with that grade instead. So 10 points off per day past the due date, but up to 5 days. So I'm going to treat you like an adult. You understand all the rules. I'm telling you the rules from the very start. I'm here to work with you though. I'm not here to just say, here are the rules, you must follow all the rules all the time. If there is an exception that you need made, so for example, there's that 5 p.m. due date, and you can't make it because you work or you have kids or something like that, reach out to me so we can talk about it. Okay, I'm going to assume that you're an adult, and if you have an adult problem like that, you're willing to reach out and talk to me, because then we can have a conversation about that and figure out what we can do. Extend the due date to you, for you until midnight or what have you. I'm willing to work with you, but I'm going to assume that if you're not talking to me, that you're handling things and you're able to meet the deadlines. One final thing, I know that some students sometimes say, why are things not due at midnight? They're not due at midnight because I'm still awake at 5 o'clock. And if you hand something in by 5 o'clock and you have a question or a problem, you can reach out to me and I'll be happy to talk to you about it. At midnight, I'm in the bed. I'm not getting out of the bed, and I'm not going to call or write you back at midnight, because I'm asleep. So I'm just not going to do that. So I've set it at 5 o'clock so that way there is a really good chance that I will be able to help you if you have a problem and you don't have to spend all night awake worrying about your problem. Okay, let's go look at the course then. Get all that out of the way. This is the ground rules. I have to set all that out there. So I'm going to close getting started, and I just want to look at the first module. Now there is a video. Actually, let me open this again. How to navigate the English 111 course. I would very strongly recommend going and watching this video. I think I did that video. Somebody else in the department may have done the video instead. As you'll see, as you start to navigate the course itself, this is not just my content. This is designed and constructed by everyone in our department. From that perspective, you do not have a textbook in the class because the class itself is your textbook. We have spent a lot of time and effort to generate this content, and what I ask as your instructor this semester, is that you go in here and read it. Let's just click on this page, for example. This describes introductions and conclusions. It gives you some resources that you can click to learn more about them. Whoops, not that. Okay, there we go. So your navigation buttons are at the bottom. There are a plethora of different items here. By the way, we're navigating through that main page that I just showed you a second ago because you'll see thesis statements. Here's a description of thesis statements. Here is a video that we did on thesis statements. Here's a podcast we did on thesis statements, and so forth and so on. So thesis statements, brainstorming. Again, there's a podcast on brainstorming. Cycling back around and going back into the 1.0 content, you can see again thesis statements, brainstorming. So we were clicking through all of these pages right here. If you want to know if we have a video or a podcast on a particular topic, up here at the very top, we have a list of audiovisual resources. You can click over to that. It shows you here in this video how to sort that list. And then you can say, oh, here's one I'm proofreading and editing. It's a podcast, and then there's the link. So there's no reason for you to not be able to find the help you need. I'm here. I can help. Again, videos, podcasts, written forms, everything you need is right here in the course. Our goal in doing this was to save you the money of buying a textbook. The textbook in this class used to cost $130. You would use it for this semester and that would be it. That's ridiculous. There's no reason for you to pay $130. But I need you to read the content that we've actually made for you. Okay, so with that in mind, again, you're going to do a plagiarism quiz. This is very straightforward. You can take it as many times as you want. You have limited times to take it. I don't even mind showing it to you. It basically just says, do you understand what plagiarism is? Do you understand if you plagiarize? It will result in a 0. Now, let's talk about those first 2 assignments that are due on the 13th, immediately as soon as class starts. The first one is a brainstorming activity. When you come in here, there is, I'll make sure that you have directions on how to go about constructing it. This shows you how this brainstorming activity, you're constructing an essay, which you will actually use the brainstorming activity to turn into an essay. 1.3 is your essay, 1.1 is brainstorming, 1.2 will be a draft, and 1.3 will be the essay. So this shows how that interacts, gives instructions, and it shows you the rubric. That is the basic outline of any assignment in the entire course. You will be outlining an essay based on a very frequent question that is asked in interviews. As the department head, I have done lots of interviews with people. I can assure you this is a definite question people ask during the interview process. That question is, tell me about a difficult time that you've faced and how you learned and grew from that. If you have not had a job before, reach out to me via email and we can talk about it. I can give you some other ideas about how you can approach this prompt, but you want to know how to respond to this prompt in order to be able to not just construct your first essay, but also for future interviews. And that's what you're going to do with the brainstorming activity. You're going to map that out, visually map that out. By the way, before I go any further, we have samples of every assignment in the entire course. So if you click right here, this carries you back into the 1.0 module, and then here are 2 bubble maps that show you exactly what we're looking for. So you have that. 1.2, and it's going to look a little bit different when you get into it. I'm going to do some editing for this. But 1.2, you're going to create a draft, submit it to this board, edit somebody else's draft, and then offer suggestions on their draft. And then you're going to edit your own draft based on the suggestions that you yourself get. Now, my strong suggestion is to post this as soon as possible to this board because it is due on the 13th. That's all going to take some time. So do your bubble map and then immediately start doing your draft. With your draft, you need at least an introduction, 1 body paragraph, and a conclusion. Okay, I will grade it after I see that you've edited it. And that's what I put here. Make sure once you've edited it and you're ready that you put in big bold letters at the very top, edited. If the due date comes and I have not seen that you post edited at the top, I'm going to assume that you forgot to put it in there, and I'm going to grade what's posted to the board. So that gives you an idea of what you need to do. Again, this is going to be a draft of the bubble mapping I just talked about a second ago. So the topic again is tell me about a difficult time that you faced at work and how you learned and grew from it. And then you're going to hand in that draft, get some feedback, and you're going to use all that feedback in order to build to your 1.3. Since the 1.3 is not due until next week, I'm not going to talk about that right now. There will be another post in the course on Wednesday. That post will talk about 1.3, and it's going to talk about the stuff inside the second module as well. Every single week, I will post a new update on Wednesday. That update will be for the assignments that are in the following week, right? So you'll have 8 days from the time of that post until the assignments are due to listen to what I'm going to say inside that video and to use that information in order to help you to generate your content and to do your assignments. Okay, that gives you an overview of the course. It gives you an overview of my expectations. It gives you some information on the first assignments you're going to be working on inside the class. This should get you started. But again, if you have any questions, I am here to help. I do want to help. I just ask that you use the inroads that I've offered to this particular point. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop it here. Again, look for the next update on Wednesday. This will post at 5 a.m. on Monday, so you have 2 days until that one posts. But in the meantime, start working on those first assignments. Okay, see you then.